Well, I have more news up here at Desawe in Kanda. This is News 360. My name is Alfred Agbesi.
And I am Portia Gabo. Coming up, the headlines.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by Deluxy Acrylic Paint, Heaven Insecticide Spray and Coil,
Kel Charcoal Toothpaste,
and IPAC Foods.
My Life Insurance.
Tonight, Council of State presents its findings on whether a prima facie case can be determined for an impeachment process against Chief Justice in a $5 million bribe allegation.
Also coming up, NPP describes government threat to NDC's chances in the 2024 elections.
And in business evening, Ghana achieves new cocoa production record of 1,033,000 metric tons for the 2020-2021 crop season after 10 years.
In sports news, Ghana's bronze medalists at the just-ended 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Samuel Techi receives a car and $20,000 for a development fund for future tournaments.
And on the international front, U.S. to speed up evacuations from Kabul airport after criticism it was acting too slowly.
We have details of these stories and more coming up shortly. Do stay with us. In our first story, Director of Communications for the New Patriotic Party, Asamoah, says Government Agenda 111 is a threat to the NDC's chances in the 2024 elections. Hence, the opposition party's fierce criticism of this initiative. At a press briefing in Accra, Boabin also questioned former President John Mahama's thank you tour and described it as an attack on the citizenry.
The NDC feels threatened, not because you are getting something good from the MPP, but because they think and they believe, and it is true, that you will never give them your vote again. Is he thanking Ghanaians for doing the wise thing to reject him again in 2020? Is he thanking Ghanaians for rejecting his governance of incompetence? Over 4 years of doomsday, economic mismanagement, and handing over of the economy to the IMF? Is he thanking Ghanaians for not having short memories about the Mahama years? Or is he simply saying, thank you, Ghanaians, for voting for Nana Akufo-Addo again? Let the NDC know that saying no to Akufo-Addo is not enough. We will allow them to say everything MPP is doing is impossible, and we will continue to deliver to the shame of the NDC and to the benefit of the Ghanaian people. MPP expects Agenda 111 to benefit directly over 7 million underserved Ghanaians, grafted onto the existing network of CHIPS compounds, polytechnics, private sector facilities, and regional and teaching hospitals. The vision of Nanado will ultimately result in every Ghanaian everywhere accessing quality health services at minimal cost. This is by far the biggest health intervention ever since the NHIS in 2003, which was also the biggest ever in Ghana's history at that time. It is all MPP. Remember that. It is all MPP. So if the people of Ghana want Ghana to be transformed, then they should look no further. Akufo-Addo is giving you almost 3 district hospitals at the price of 1 by John Mahama, under whom the average cost was around $45 million.
Well, the minority in Parliament wants the acting Auditor General to audit some 600 million cedis that it claims government has already expended on the Agenda 111 project. Ranking member on the Parliament's Select Committee on Health, Kwabena Minta-Kando, is adamant the minority will trigger a parliamentary investigation into the issue if the audit is not done. According to the minority, the government has already made some expenses that it has not accounted for, but the government disputes that. In fact, the Ministry of Finance in an earlier statement said, quote, the money has been released into the project account at the Bank of Ghana, but not utilized as yet. That is according to the that's the Finance Ministry earlier today, the statement that they issued in seeking to clarify this particular position. And as a matter of fact, earlier, the minority had raised this concern alongside the issues of transparency and the feasibility of the 18-month project execution period. I'll be joined on the telephone by the ranking member of the Health Committee. He is also the member of Parliament for the Joboso constituency. Kwabena Takando joins me on the telephone. Good evening to you. Takando, if you can hear me. First off,
can you hear me?
Great, I can hear you clearly. The Finance Ministry is responding to that position or the claim that you make that because of the 600 million cedis captured in the Media Budget Review Appendix 4, which has actually been confirmed, that money has been expended. They say no, that this money was actually released into the Bank of Ghana account, yet to be expended. This is equivalent of the $100 million money that is set aside for the execution of Agenda 111. So this money has not been expended as yet. Does that answer that question that you had earlier?
Look, the Bank of Ghana statement, has provoked a lot of debate.
Well, it is the Finance Ministry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, it is the Finance Ministry statement.
The Finance Ministry, statement, is raising a lot of concerns and it's raising a lot of questions and answers. It is making the issue quite naked. Number one, what we are saying is that if you take the media review budget, and I hope by now you've checked it yourself, page 100, there's a table there labeled Appendix 4D.
4D, yes.
4D. And you realize that under the health infrastructure, the budgeted allocation and the money released and utilized is around 600 million Ghana cedis, true of us. Hello?
I can hear you clearly.
Very good. So if we have a money sitting in account in Bank of Ghana, do you caption it as utilized or released?
So,
they are only looking for reasons for, the money they have probably squandered or they have whatever name they want to give it. But what I say is that we think that there are more questions than answers, and therefore we must trigger some kind of investigation into the whole transaction involving the Bank of Ghana, the Controller, the Ministry of Health, the Presidency, and the Ministry of Finance, so that we'll trace this money to where the money is lodged at this point in time. Because the explanations they are given is quite bizarre, to say the least.
So the statement makes specific reference to the implementation phases of the project, being phase 1, the pre-contract works, and phase 2, the construction and execution of the project. As a matter of fact, they say that out of this $100 million that has been put into the project account, only 36 million cedis has been utilized specifically for the pre-construction mobilization cost.
Who am I speaking to, please?
This is Alfred.
Alfred, don't confuse two different issues. If you check the same document, page 101 and page 100, if you go to page 101, you will see the pre-contract works that has been, about 36 million Ghana cedis has been used for that. Then you come to page 100, and mind you, table 40 is utilization as at 2020, not even 2021. And so when we are talking about pre-contract works, and you go to the table 40 in 2021, probably that's when we even investigate whether or not the amount that they claim have been spent has value for money. We have not come there yet. But what we are asking for is the money that they tell us in the media review budget that it has been utilized. What did they use that money for? Because don't forget that, look, even if you read their statement carefully, they are telling you that they are yet to move the money into the Ghana Infrastructure Investment
That's the health
Fund,
infrastructure account, yes.
So it means that the money hasn't gotten there yet. And don't forget that when we asked them about the source of funding for the Agenda 111, they said they were going to use Ghana Infrastructure Fund. They didn't tell us that they were going to transfer money from the consolidated fund into the Ghana infrastructure so that the money will just be there. As and when the implementing agency is ready, then they will, they will release the money to the implementing agency. So the whole thing is bizarre.
So there's a specific reference, that particular aspect of the statement that you make reference to says that this money is in the health infrastructure account at the Bank of Ghana and is going to be disbursed to contractors in accordance with the project work plan. So yes, that disbursement has not been done as yet.
So there's a portion of the statement that says that they are yet to disburse the money into the Ghana Infrastructure Fund. Okay? So if there's an account in the bank, and don't forget that if you're talking about the consolidated fund is aggregation of all the accounts in the central bank. It's not a single account.
Absolutely.
And so if there is money sitting in the account in the central government, in the name of government, you cannot say that money has been spent. It's through the consolidated fund. So
the NPP, addressing the press earlier today, make the point that this Agenda 111 is a threat to your chances in the 2024 elections. Reasons why?
They are confused. Releasing one president from the minority has caused them to do or organize 4 press conferences. Four. Clearly, but it must tell you why they are panicking, because they know where we are heading towards. They know that there's something amiss. You've gotten the deputy minister for health to come and speak on this matter. We've gotten the presidential advisor to come and organize a press conference on this matter. We've gotten the deputy minister for finance to come and speak on this matter. We have gotten the whole MPP party, the whole party, from Yagaba to Gaboso, represented by Asamoah, the party, to come and speak to this matter. We all in the name of reacting to a single press release by the minority. That should tell you something.
Okay.
That should tell you something. I heard when he called me and I was on the phone, I heard about Asamoah that he was saying that yes, the amount of money that has been allocated for one project is valid for money because it could have, in the case of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, amount for one could construct about 3 in the case of
Exactly.
Look, for the records. And I think that the Asamoah should know better.
Okay.
Because in Parliament, the records are available to us. That this government tells us that a district hospital costs $40 million. That is the records available to Parliament as I speak to you now. I am a ranking member on the committee, and I am referring you to the Samar District Hospital. So means that they could have used $15.88 million to construct Samar District Hospital, and they bought $40 million for us to approve. So where is the balance?
So this statement doesn't answer the questions that you have as yet, and in the coming days, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more demand from you. Member of Parliament for Jaboso constituency, there is the ranking member of the Health Committee in Parliament, Kwabena Mintankando.
In more news tonight, a former director of elections at the Electoral Commission, Alfred Agbesi, has kicked against suggestions to have a legal backing for the Inter-Party and Advisory Committee, IPAC. According to him, such a move will be dangerous as the commission could be hijacked by political parties. Hence, of the Electoral Commission, he spoke with Evelyn Tingma.
The National Democratic Congress, as part of its proposals to the Electoral Commission, suggested that the Inter-Party and Advisory Committee, IPAC, should be backed by law. But former Director of Elections at the Electoral Commission, Alfred Agbesi, says that could be dangerous.
If care is not taken, the EC can be hijacked by the parties. And in the long run, they will override all decisions taken by the EC. So I still maintain that IPAC should be advisory in nature. They can bring about all suggestions, all consultations that they want to make as parties, they can do it. But the EC should be left alone to take decisions, because by nature, it has to be neutral, it has to be, independent. And if it is in that manner, they will be able to take on the parties, conduct elections without any fear or favor.
The national coordinator for CODEO says the EC should not have asked the NDC to send its proposals to IPAC.
The best answer should have been, yes, we have received your recommendations, but we are going to table it before IPAC for a discussion. Mind you, there is a reform committee already in place, and it could also be referred to the reform committee, of which the NDC itself is a member. So there are two ways. Either they forward it to the reform committee for discussion, table it before IPAC for discussion. And in that case, the EC itself will be there to take part in the discussion.
Let's get into issues of vaccines for COVID-19, and the Ghana Health Service has described as the public turnout for the one-jab Johnson & Johnson vaccine as overwhelming. Director of Public Health at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Franklin Esiedu-Bekoin, says the turnout proves a positive attitude towards the vaccines in Ghana.
The idea is to exhaust the vaccines. So we don't have a specific end date. What is happening is that a number of the districts have exhausted theirs. But so far as we have some, we'll still continue to vaccinate. I mean, we are being overwhelmed with the numbers. I mean, you know, the people who do the vaccines are a lot. So we are encouraged by that. We're hoping that with new vaccines coming, it will lead to more acceptance by the population.
Currently, only 1% of the country's population have had their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccines, with barely 0.5% of the national population vaccinated. The rollout of the Johnson & Johnson is being administered in 7 hotspot districts in the Greater Accra region and 4 in the Ashanti region. Turnout was high.
Looking at the numbers so far and the response, it tells me
next week we can start.